GYGB. Where the fuck y'all at?
Let's go to the rematch of the year.
Rematch of the year.
Forrest.
That's a good setup.
That's a rematch.
I agree. That was
Think about what other rematch we had.
Yeah.
No, that should be entitled "Mama Said Knock You Out." It was comeback album.
Why?
He came back.
He put on a lesson. I thought. I think he put on a boxing lesson.
He was. I mean, what was the odds out there? Was Forrest the favorite?
Forrest, Mora was the favorite.
Mora
was like a 2-1.
So a lot of people got paid in Vegas.
It's funny,
Yeah.
you know, I know it's a common theme with Vernon Forrest. Every time he comes out too happy and overhyped, he loses his fights.
Right.
He came out happy last time.
Well, he came out happy. He's talking all that trash. Like, yeah, I trash more.
And that ain't his style, you say.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When he comes out like real humble, like real
Right.
low key, it's like, all right, you know what? This is business, LeBron. I done put my suit on.
Right.
It was time for us to go to work, and that's what he did. He put on some work today. He used his jab
He
more.
was faint early and had more like on his.
Moore didn't know what he was doing. Moore was dusty
confused.
and punches weren't even
Later on,
Because Mora is not a prototype boxer. He gets away with his athleticism and his tricky angles, what he calls defense. And Forrest put on a boxing lesson, and he wasn't used to that type of. He never been in the ring with nothing like
I think
that.
people
before.
take athleticism for granted these
They
days.
do. Because he
Go on
was very
YouTube to
athletic.
see Michael Jordan break a backboard
You always-
overseas. That's athleticism.
That was our Jordan plug.
Jordan like 90, 95.
This is 86 Jordan.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
This is the freak Jordan.
Alright.
Who loses the ball with him, get it, bang on you.
So Vernon Forrest, I was glad to see him come back. You know, Vernon Forrest is to me like a last of the Mohicans of that astute, you know, textbook boxing style. You know, jab, feints. You know that traditional. You know, rolling your shoulder, misdirecting. A couple times he put him in a turnstile. No, I'm talking Mora ain't know where he was at. He had him spent in circles because of the misdirecting he was doing. He dropped him. Seven was sleep turned the channel, so we don't know what happened.
I didn't turn the station. I was confused.
You know what I mean? So we don't know what happened.
No, I'm gonna tell you what
I
happened.
wish we had that on
I'm
tape.
gonna tell you what happened. Gooseman didn't make weight, so I was hitting swap thinking we were supposed to go back
Blame it on Goose.
and the whole Showtime broadcast was over.
Well, I would say this though. I'm actually happy that the scorecards reflected the fight that we saw.
Right.
Lately, I don't know what the hell's been happening.
It make you change your
judges.
cards because you know what I said 8-4 for Vernon just being generous because after last week with Casitas and Diaz and I'll pick Casitas. I'm back.
Wait, man, I thought you agreed with me on that. That the Casitas.
No. I was these dudes.
These are the guys.
They was texting each other at 3 in the morning arguing. I wasn't never in that
I was
argument.
asleep with
I made one
They
comment.
was still texting me.
They
I
was
was hearing my phone go off.
My wife thought I was having an affair. She's like, "Who's texting you at 3 in the morning?"
I won't say it, I won't go into details, but there was a dental floss comment made.
Oh, wait.
You know, it's funny. I think that a lot of these judges got that George Bush funny math, and today it was good to see that they actually calculated everything.
That's what Doc
right.
said. Finally, you got a card the way you saw the fight.
Yup. And Vernon just, you know, he finally showed, he finally lived up to his potential today.
So
actually put together some combinations.
So what did he do to make the fight different this time?
You know, I just think honestly, what he did was he was boxing. He was more the aggressor this
And
time.
he did a lot
wait
of
for
work.
more.
He did a lot of work behind the jab.
He was more proactive than reactive. To me, that was the major
Early in the
difference.
fight, I saw him, which really discouraged Mora. Every time Mora tried to come in, he was catching him.
He was
with the left
countering
hand.
him. Like it was like he said at the
He was
end.
catching with the left hook
Everything
coming
was
in.
set up with the jab, and he just put on an exhibition. And more, he never been in a ring with anything like that.
Right.
In his career, probably since he was fighting since he was a child. He never fought a boxer.
And that right uppercut did work too.
Right.
Yeah. Some of y'all pick Mora for this.
I
picked him.
Listen, and we ain't the only ones, right? A lot of people pick Sergio Mora.
I wanted Forrest to win, but I thought that Vernon Forrest.
I thought he was done. I'm gonna be honest. I
I
thought
didn't think
he
he was good. I just didn't think he was.
Shout out to Al Heyman.
I just didn't think that he
Yeah,
was.
that was good. Them turning the money down.
I just think he was just going to, put forth the effort this fight to, combat Sergio Mora because Sergio Mora was more active in that first fight,
Right.
versus what he was. So I didn't know how he was going to base
But I mean,
it.
like you basing it on
based it on
Vernon
age.
Forrest getting fatigue on that fight.
Yeah, I did. I
don't
based it
think
on
it
age.
was
I
fatigue.
honestly.
He just
Seemed like he was interesting. Like
He looked like he was tired.
He looked tired. To me, it just looked like he was fighting a younger guy
Right.
that 5 years ago he would have beat easily.
Right.
And I just thought it was an age thing. I mean, I was wrong.
And for me, I was sitting here saying, you know what? I think we were just we had the blindfold of our eyes because you know what? Every time Vernon Forrest, like I said, come in focused, he seems to win his fights.
Some people thought he won a rematch with
Mayorga. He did.
Max Kellerman believes he believes it wholeheartedly.
He did.
Vernon won that rematch. He don't
Right.
argue about that, to death. But where do Vernon, that he turned down.
You said Bioworker?
My don't start that. That's the temple. Shout out to Indiana Jones. The heart got snatched out of his chest.
Bioworker got that man's heart. I don't care how much skill you have.
I thought Mario won both fights, but I'm just saying some people thought he won the second. That's all. Jeff, shout out to Jeff Wall, the contender folks. They tried to offer my man Swapola to turn down the fight.
So what does this mean?
Terminology.
What does this mean for the contender now? Is this rematch worthy? Do we see a third fight?
No. So they don't want it either.
So what's next for Forrest?
Forrest, it's interesting
Margarita.
Because the 54 landscape is real weird.
Well, he can
Daniel Santos.
He can fight Daniel Santos.
He can
fight Santos.
Joe Julio. Well, Joe Julio
beat Joe Julio.
He's going to Germany and fight a real tough fighter. He had no business.
I actually like Joe Julio.
So we don't know what's going to happen with Joel after next week.
I just know that Vernon better start fighting soon. He's 37.
He got to keep fighting.
He got to keep fighting.
He has to. I agree.
Well, I mean, who does he fight though?
I told you.
There's no big name.
Julio.
Winky, right? Can Winky make 54?
Winky.
We haven't seen Winky.
Shout out to Winky, who's by the way,
we know he loves
still on my pound for pound list. But you know what? He's still on my
That's a future show.
That's a future show. That's a future show. I don't want to get into that today with y'all guys. That's a future show. I can back me in the corner.
Bottom man Klitschko. Iron Hand.
All right. Okay. Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Meat and potatoes of this night.
The linear welterweight belt was on the line tonight. Juan Manuel
Welterweight
Marquez.
or lightweight?
Lightweight.
Linear core to who?
Oscar.
My bad. Okay,
Oscar was on ESPN. He said no disrespect to the other lightweights, but this was for the linear champion.
If Oscar said,
technically he's right though, right?
If Oscar said,
technically speaking,
the lineage hasn't been broken because
it hasn't been broken.
But hold on. But let's be real. Casa won it from Corrales,
right?
Who had it through the right lineage,
right?
But some might argue that Casamayor got a gift decision against Santa Cruz,
which is fine.
But don't matter. He never lost it.
But the ring should have vacated him. You know what I'm saying? Like the ring,
not from a shade.
The ring ain't gonna step in on the shade.
They do.
They have done. No, he's right.
Oscar say so.
But Oscar
said so. They right.
But they have done it in the past.
This show has been fortunate by Golden.
They had strip fighters. For if there was a questionable decision, they had strip fighters and vacated the belt.
Right.
So it's like, you gotta question their motives. I don't know if Oscar already owned the magazine when they had that fight or
they should do the ring like they do the Oprah magazine, just have a picture of him every month.
Right.
Alright, Oscar said, let's get back. So it was for the linear title of the world.
Lightweight, yep.
We're gonna get into a week pick. That's really not important right now. Anyway,
let's get into who we picked for the fight.
I picked Joel Casamayor, and I almost looked like a genius earlier on because, and y'all all had wait a minute, y'all all had Casa.
What was the reason?
I didn't have no Casa.
Y'all had Casa winning the fight early on. Is what I'm saying.
No.
We had to win it. I'm just saying. He was winning early on.
So what?
You talking about the early rounds?
Anybody have a scorecard at the end of the fight?
Doc got the scorecard.
It don't matter. You got knocked out.
But after the 10th round, it was tied. It was tied.
Yeah, he was going on the
5-5.
Oh wait, is that Oscar?
Yeah. So
all these frauds here.
They no frauds.
No, y'all was picking Cass in the first half of the fight. Is what
we were saying.
He almost looked like a surgical genius.
We was worried about our pick. We was like, we got. My man was nervous. I was nervous.
Let's go with who picked who.
All right.
Who did you pick?
I picked Juan Manuel, but the only problem is I picked Marquez. But the problem was this: even though I had the fight almost even, I already told you guys that he started off a little bit slow. He starts off slow. The guys.
Which one? Marquez or?
I told Big Mike that when he asked why
Nacho. Both of them started.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say Casamayor. I said
He
Marquez.
said what?
I told Big Mike. He said, "Why is Nacho telling him to give him the first few rounds?" I said, "That's normally what they do. They are reactive fighters." Marquez. Right. What I said about Vernon. That's how
he started to turn it up like in around.
But he's He's never been a proactive fighter.
Right.
He always been reactive.
Which leads to the point. If you look at the many fights, even if you look at the first half of the fights, he got his butt whooped. The second half of the fights, after those knockdowns, even in the first fight and the second fight, he turned it on.
That's what I'm saying.
He's a late starter. So He just let people.
All right, so Sleep, who did you pick? They want to humiliate Coach.
Pretty obvious.
All right, everybody, listen unanimous with the exception of me. I'll pick.
And I picked Nate Campbell. What was Casamayor doing well early? Then what did Marquez do to adjust?
See,
Well, Cosmo, he was just doing his thing, was being tricky. You know,
He's been very aggressive early too.
and he was being aggressive.
Very aggressive.
Not walking back.
But you know what? I think he lost discipline a little bit by
did.
showboating.
He started
and putting his hands
showboating.
down. That's how he got caught.
Can't do
all
that
the
against a
time.
vet.
One thing that Casamayor was doing effectively was throwing that jab and landing it.
Right. Was.
And and kind of throwing it through Marquez's timing slightly. So
Right.
we all knew Marquez is a great counter puncher. So every time he would try to counter, he was slightly off. And I told you earlier, I was like, yo, look at the way, being a left-hander. Every time he throws that right, he was slightly off balance, and it was only a matter of time before he caught him.
But early on,
He didn't catch him.
He didn't catch him like that.
But he caught him late.
But early on, Marquez would counter, then Casa was countering right back with the left.
yeah.
But the fight changed with the cut. Because that's when Casamayor got a little more
He
reckless.
got more reckless.
He did too. He got more
It
urgent.
was a headbutt.
I don't know.
Nobody know because they didn't show replays.
Because they weren't showing replays.
Not the
like